Episode 128, weighing in with Travis Hartman. I am B Money, the producer. That over there is the talent, Weekend Trav. Weekend Trav, fresh off the presses as of Tuesday. Big time heavyweight fight has been announced. Tyson Fury, the WBC heavyweight champ, is now taking on Francis Ngannou, former UFC heavyweight champ. This coming October 28th. Weekend Trav, what do we make of this? I want to hear your take. I'll give my take, but what do we make of this heavyweight matchup between a true pure boxer and a former MMA specialist?
Well, I disagree with you when you say this is a big time boxing
You didn't
match
sense
because
my
it's not.
you didn't sense
It
my
is.
sarcasm? You didn't sense that at all?
I was picking up highly on it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
listen, I get where we're at in this world right now. We're in a very entertainment based. People want to be entertained and not necessarily with strictly boxing type of events, even though it is boxing, but you know what I mean? Because Ngannou is the heavyweight champion of the world in UFC.
Was.
His contract, yes, was his contract expired, and now that's why he is attempting to jump over the boxing realm. However, this is what all the UFC guys are doing because they want to get paid. Okay. Ngannou was making $600,000 for a fight. Great money, though. Don't let people watching this. I'm not acting like that's not a lot of money. It is. But the reason why I say only is because he's going to probably make, who knows, $5 to $10 million fighting Tyson Fury. He'll make in one fight in a boxing match, and he might his entire career
Probably, yeah.
times two
Yeah.
in the UFC. So I understand why Ngannou is doing it.
Oh,
I
of course.
do. 100%. He wants to get paid, and he deserves to get paid. He does. However, I have to side on the boxing expert realm. So I'm going to give you my boxing expert opinion. This is a trash boxing match.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen Ngannou. He's 6'3" here. Let me give you the official stats
I
right
got
now.
you. 6'4" to Tyson Fury 6'9". They're gonna both weigh about the same, probably 270. Tyson Fury has a 2-inch reach advantage. I mean, these are two massive men, but
Yep.
Tyson Fury with that height advantage and with that reach advantage and with the skill set advantage, we can trap. Is this more than just a fraud to the public?
If you're speaking in professional heavyweight championship caliber fights, yes. I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, I'm not saying I'm against the fight, but if you want my honest boxing opinion, it's not a high level boxing match. It is not a big boxing match that deserves the credit on the boxing scene that it's gonna get, because it's gonna get it because it's Tyson Fury. But Ngannou's 36. I didn't realize that as well.
Yeah.
Ngannou's older, so Tyson
Ooh,
Fury
two
also
years older. Yeah.
has the height, has the weight, has the boxing ability, obviously. Listen, Ngannou's a great guy. This is gonna be, if you turn this fight on, just like if you turn a Jake Paul fight on, you're gonna see some boxing skill, but you're not going to see high level championship caliber boxing like you would see if a Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fighting, or an Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury, or any of those guys that's been mentioned. If those guys were fighting, you are not going to see that level. I've seen Ngannou training, B Money. He is tough. His boxing ability is extremely limited. Extremely. And this is what it is. He's been training boxing now that he hasn't been in the UFC. I get it. But what people don't understand, and I think what Jake Paul is understanding, and now Tyron Woodley understands, unfortunately, is that boxing takes a long time. No matter how talented you are, no matter how athletic you are, it takes a long time to learn it.
A lifetime.
Ngannou is not going to learn it by October.
I mean, here's the thing. We understand, and you mentioned what Ngannou's thinking and why he's doing it. Of course, the world understands that. I mean, talk about a life-changing, money grab. I don't blame him. And you know what? To his credit, he was the baddest man on the planet in the UFC, in the MMA realm, in the heavyweight ranks. Of course, he's going to want to compete with the best of the best across all different fight classes, right? I mean, of course, that's going to be the case. What I can't wrap my mind around is Tyson Fury, the WBC heavyweight champ. Keep in mind, one belt. We're not talking about Usyk, who has the others. What is it other than money? What is Tyson Fury thinking of right now when it just seems more and more that he's ducking real caliber competition in the heavyweight ranks, and he's given us this novelty fight instead in October?
Well, I don't know the whole story from why the Usyk fight broke down, but there was business reasons why that fight broke down, wasn't able to be made. Whatever it is, probably garbage. Whatever we know, we don't know everything, obviously, but it was garbage. It broke down. Um, Tyson Fury, you said one thing is he's fighting for money. That's it. This is an easy money fight for him. He's going to make a ton of money. And in my opinion, this is a super easy, relatively safe fight for him. Okay. Yeah. Ngannou, yes, everybody's going to be like, oh, well, he's a big guy and he's always got that one
Doesn't
chance
matter.
shot. Not in boxing, you don't.
Yeah.
Not at this level. Not at this level. If you're Deontay Wilder at this level, yes, you have that puncher's chance. Not Ngannou.
We've seen Tyson Fury take bombs from Deontay Wilder.
Probably the hardest hitting heavyweight in the world.
Why is this going to be any different? And look at and you mentioned Ngannou, 2 years older, but also here's a good interesting stat. He's just fresh off of surgery in March, repairing his MCL and ACL. Okay.
Ooh, I didn't know that. Good information because I didn't even realize that.
So what kind of power gets removed from a punch weekend, Trav, as a boxer when you've had that kind of damage on the leg and repair work done on the leg? What are we looking at when it comes to not necessarily volume of punches, but the power behind punches? How does that impact a boxer?
Well, it's a great question because boxers actually, what most people don't realize is they generate force from the ground up, which comes from your feet, through your knees, through your hips, through your shoulders, out your hands. So it's still possible that he's going to be okay. We've come a long way in sports medicine with surgery and all of that, but it is going to be a little bit different because, one, he hasn't been training as just a strictly boxer now. Now you're telling me that he got the surgery in March. He's only been training strictly as a boxer, working on his technique since March. I promise you by October, that seems like a long time. It's not enough time. Not to compete at the level of a Tyson Fury, who is one of the most intelligent veterans, savvy, smart, athletic, pugilist at heart, and can punch now. So you're telling me that Tyson Fury, who, even though he only has one WBC title, he was the lineal champion of the world and never has been beaten. So technically, he only lost that when he retired. But technically, nobody's ever beaten him for the lineal heavyweight title, which is the main title, meaning that he had all the titles at once. Even though Usyk has those titles now, Tyson Fury was never beaten for those titles. Sure. He relinquished those. So what I'm saying is, Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight in the world. You can't tell me that a guy who's coming from the UFC, which, zero disrespect to UFC, phenomenal. UFC is tough. It's hard. It's its own craft. Okay. But Ngannou, honestly, he stands a 1% chance. I'm giving him a 1% because he does know how to fight. He is tough and he can punch, but he has a 1% chance at this fight at winning. Because of the odds are stacked massively against him. And people keep telling me, oh, he could punch. Yeah, well, you also said Conor McGregor could punch too, and he had a chance against Floyd Mayweather.
I was about to go there because this is what it just sounds vaguely familiar to that, though at that point, Floyd was already on the other side of his career too. He wasn't
he was on the other side of 40.
Yeah. So it's just oddly familiar, like a money grab. And when we were watching that fight years ago, actually we weren't in the same place watching, but we were texting back and forth. It's like you knew it. You as the boxer already told me exactly what was going to happen before it happened, before the fight even started.
I did really good on that one. Yeah. I remember making a big long paragraph post on Facebook about that fight. And it literally went scripted as I scripted it.
And this will be a similar situation. It's going to be crafted in such where both guys don't come out looking necessarily weak, but Tyson Fury is going to win the thing. Yes, it's a regulation boxing match. There's 3 judges. We haven't heard anything about the rounds or anything yet because it's all fresh information. It's going to be, by the way, it's going to be October 28th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, which I believe is the biggest city in Saudi Arabia. So
it's where Anthony Joshua fought. He fought Andy Ruiz there.
Exactly. So massive venue, massive money pouring through this thing. It's going to make millions and millions of dollars, and people are going to watch it because it's a spectacle. But folks, if you're listening to our voices, that's all this is. It's a spectacle. Don't get caught up in this. This isn't the real heavyweight versus heavyweight champ of the world sort of situation. We're still waiting for a fight like that. I almost feel bad that last week on episode 127, I said, man, we can Trav. The one thing this calendar year is missing is that big time heavyweight fight. And then what gets offered to us on a platter? This thing. This.
You know what? You know what's really funny too, B Money, is the timing of this, because not only did Tyson Fury announce that he's fighting Ngannou in October, Anthony Joshua announced that he's having a rematch with, oh my gosh, I forgot his name already.
With Dillian White.
Dillian White. Yeah. But also Usyk also announced that he's fighting Dubois is fighting him as well. So all three heavyweights that we were just talking about, we're like, oh, that scene's been kind of boring. It's all three now are fighting, but ironically, they're not fighting each other.
Yeah, and Deontay Wilder is still in talks with Andy Ruiz, possibly.
Which is all that's so we just mentioned the four really top heavyweight boxers in the world right now is Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Usyk, Anthony Joshua. All of those guys now are set to fight. So what that means is, to me, is that this year we're going to round out 2023 without a super high level blockbuster unification in the heavyweight division. We're not going to get it.
We're not.
Even though I said 2023 has been the best year for boxing, it has, but it will not be in the heavyweight division because there's not enough time after these fights happen for another fight to happen. Right. So we're not going to get it in 2023, folks. I'm sorry. The heavyweight division, you're going to have to be happy with these matchups for now, which hopefully sets up blockbuster fights in 2024 for the heavyweight division. However, 2023 has still been great, my man. You know why?
Well, we have fights coming up
in July.
But here's the thing. It's what pisses me off about this, not to continuously go back to this Fury and Ngannou, it takes attention away from two big time fights that are still happening this month. Okay. We're only about mid-month, not even quite mid-July. July 25th, Inoue's taking on Stephen Fulton. July 29th, we got Terrence Crawford taking on Errol Spence Jr. Those are massive fights. They're not heavyweight guys, so that's not going to get the casual eyes to watch some of this stuff. But Crawford Spence is a massive, massive blockbuster fight.
They're the best welterweights in the world right now.
And the little guys,
pound top 5. The
little guys don't get the love that they need. But in a way, step into a different weight class to take on Fulton for some title. We can Trav. Inoue is pound for pound top 5, maybe top 3 in consideration in the world.
I think a lot of people actually have him top 3. You're right. I think a lot of people have him closer to top 3 than even just top 5, but for sure top 5.
And so we'll have more time to talk about those in the next, probably episode 129. Sorry to our viewers. I said 128. We were going to talk about Crawford Spence, but like I said, we have this, boxing versus MMA thing that just occurred.
It's breaking news. We have to report it.
Breaking news. We have to report it. This episode drops on Wednesday, obviously, on our YouTube channel. If you have yet to subscribe, please do so below. It's also on Rumble. It's also on the audio apps. If you're listening on Spotify, iHeartRadio, whatever else is out there, we're on there. Just look up Weighing In with Travis Hartman. We appreciate the support, and give us a little thumb up and a like as well. We're not too proud to ask and beg for that stuff. We can travel. Episode 127, not doing too hot on the metrics. So hopefully we'll pop that one up a little bit too.
Yeah, I think that our subscribers are probably lashing out at us because we've gone almost a full year of getting triple-digit views on all of our podcasts, and then we took off some time. We get it. We had life. We had 4th of July. We had stuff coming on, so we didn't do an episode for a couple of weeks, and then we drop one, and they're like, "We're too good for you."
It is, and this is just between you and me and everyone else listening. I don't think Canelo sells for us anymore. I don't think he's getting the clicks because it's just saturated with Canelo stuff and everyone's kind of tired of it, anyways.
Well, obviously what's selling B Money is Ryan Garcia from April.
Jeez. Okay. Well, anyways.
But we can't talk about him. We have to talk about the relevant upcoming people, which is Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, who deserve it. Fulton versus Inoue, who deserve it. You even have Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz, who I'm not going to say deserve it, but they probably deserve it more than some of those guys.
But it's relevant. Yeah.
And
So
now you have Tyson Fury, you have Anthony Joshua fighting Dillian White, then you have Usyk fighting Dubois now. Like, so there's a lot of fights happening now.
there are, but this is the big one. October 28th, once again, coming Saudi Arabia. Tyson Fury, WBC heavyweight champ, taking on former UFC heavyweight champ Francis Ngannou. That's October 28th, once again, for the fraud heavyweight title of the world, in my opinion. Stay tuned. A lot can change. As we know, Tyson Fury, just because they announce something doesn't necessarily mean that's gospel, and that's what actually happens in October. We shall see.
Waiting to hear too, because as you know, you mentioned that Tyson Fury is the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. The WBC did weigh in on this and said they allowed Tyson Fury permission to go forward with this fight. However, I haven't read yet, I could be wrong, but I haven't read yet if his title will be on the line. Because if it's
I
not,
haven't seen that either. I doubt it is.
If it's not, this doesn't make sense though. Like, why is a heavyweight champion of the world? I think it almost has to be on the line. If the WBC approved it, there's no reason why that technically it has to be on the line. So technically, we could have a guy who is 1-0 be the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, which would be the first time in the history of boxing that a heavyweight champion of the world became the champ after one fight.
That's why I get the impression it won't be that way, Weekend Trav. Plus, they haven't even announced whether or not this would even count towards their boxing records either. This smells a lot like a glorified exhibition match, in my opinion, and it smells like one that Tyson Fury will walk away with 20-30 million bucks.
Well, they said that it's for sure gonna be a real fight. They said it's gonna be judged, a 10-point must system, all of that stuff. So I think it has to go down as a real fight. I'm pretty positive that it can't be an exhibition at this point. They are going to sanction it as a real boxing match.
We'll see, Weekend Trav. I mean, when they throw a couple midgets in a boxing ring fighting each other, they call that a real fight too, but I don't think that's going towards any sort of amateur or professional record.
I've never watched one of those matches, but I curiously want to.
There's a lot on the internet to take a look at. It's just Google that stuff. So, Weekend Trav, final thoughts to you.
Like I said, we've said this before that the boxing comes and goes with the heavyweight division. I agree and disagree with that. I agree because when the heavyweight division is good, then yes, boxing is good. However, I don't think the heavyweight division is good this year in 2023. But in spite of that, I think boxing is doing great in 2023 without a major heavyweight fight. So I think it goes to show you that it's true and it's not true. It's true when the heavyweight division does do good. Yes, boxing is doing good. But now we're looking at it that boxing is doing very well right now without a major heavyweight fight that's happened, honestly, in 2023. Not a major clash versus two champions that we've all been really clamoring for. It hasn't really happened. It's all been in the other division. So I think boxing does come and go to heavyweight division, but this year might be the exception.
Yeah, I think you might be right, Weekend Trav. Well, that wraps up episode 128 of Weighing In with Travis Hartman. We appreciate all the support. As you do know, this is the #1 beards, bourbon, and boxing podcast shot in Orlando, Florida, specifically Laureate Park, specifically in a boxing gym, specifically on the second floor of said boxing gym in the TH Boxing Facility podcast room where Weekend Trav currently is. Shot on a Sunday or Monday, today actually being a Tuesday, dropping on
a Wednesday morning at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time
in the world. That is our niche and demographic. So Weekend Trav, on behalf of all of us here, good to see you. Welcome to year 40 of life.
I got a fun fact for you, though.
Oh, yeah? Let me get the fact, and then we'll wrap it up.
And then it's gone. We can
end it done.
So it's Laureate Park, which is where we live, which is where I live, and this is where we shoot the podcast. It was started and it is owned by a guy by the name of Joe Louis.
Yeah.
Who is a famous boxer, though. This guy's not.
It's not the same Joe Louis.
But I think it's pretty cool because we have the #1 boxing beards and bourbon podcast shot in Orlando, Florida, specifically Laureate Park, which is owned by Joe Louis. I think it's pretty cool.
You know,
Fun fact.
good for you, Weekend Trav. It's nice to see you can be so entertained in your old age still.
Where's my cane at, mofo?
Exactly. All right, that over there is the talent Weekend Trav.
That there is B Money, aka producer, aka I miss B Money in studio.
I know. I need to
Maybe
get
next
back there.
week. Maybe next week. But
That's what I'm
hey,
hoping.
man, God bless. I love you, brother.
God bless. Bada bing, bada boom.